What's going on? This is Gaffney for the United Devils, and this is my player ratings and match reaction, or match reaction and player ratings, isn't that how it's normally said? Well, regardless, it's going to be my match reaction and player ratings for what I think is United's first FA Cup game of the season, at home to Watford. Not a lot to get excited about coming into this game, and there's definitely not a lot to get excited about after the game. It's, I wish in times like this, or in games like this, we could have used more youth players, but we couldn't because it was still a narrow margin. Normally in a lot of games like this, Watford aren't a lower division team. They're just in the Championship. Obviously, they were in the Premier League last season. But if you get drawn against like League 1 or League 2 teams, you can usually experiment a bit more with youth. We didn't get a chance to do that. Maybe we will in the future. But, that's the only thing that can really excite me about these ties, because FA Cup is not what it used to be. I don't get excited by it unless it's the final or something, or the semi-final. And the League Cup is obviously just minor. Literally the Premier League is all I'm really bothered about. But, it's a United game. Yeah, I still watch every game. And yeah, so obviously United win the game 1-0. Wasn't a particularly exciting game. Scott McTominay scored the only goal, assisted by Tejas, early goal in the first half right at the start. We played a really rotated team, and Scott McTominay was the captain, which I've never seen before, which was quite a shock, because you had players like Mata and even Lingard, I think, has wore the armband before for United. But, he went with McTominay. And yeah, I'm going to get straight into the player ratings because there's not a lot I can say. It wasn't the most entertaining game in my opinion. And yeah, so obviously Dean Henderson started in goal, who seems to be playing in all the cups, which, is fair enough. He's not going to get in ahead of De Gea because he's been great this season in the Premier League, but, he can prove himself in games like this, which he did today. Obviously kept a clean sheet, got like... some saves. I think there were some alright saves in there. So with that and the clean sheet and no mistakes, I'll give Henderson a 6.5, which is just slightly above average. Tejas at left back got an assist. He's not been as good as Luke Shaw recently, in my opinion, but he offers something different. But Luke Shaw started taking corners and stuff, which is mad that he suddenly started doing that. But Tejas had a good game today. I'd say a 7. Maguire, no, he didn't. I'm so used to saying Maguire. He didn't even start this game. Eric Bailly, I'd give a 6. Look, he's been our best player of the last month, probably defender definitely. And it looks like he's injured again, so it's a big problem. And I think Victor Lindelof's still injured as well. So are we going to play Maguire and Twanzebe? At least that's probably better than Maguire and Lindelof, if you ask me. But it's a big worry about Eric Bailly. Let's fingers crossed that this isn't a bad injury. But he did get taken off. Maguire came on. But I'd give Bailly 6 in the game. Just standard. Twanzebe, I'd give a 7. He probably did a bit more in the game than Bailly. Twanzebe's a good defender, and he needs to be played more. And I think he will now. I think now is his chance. If you look at the injuries, maybe a player like Mengi could be used like he should have today. Right back was Williams, who looked better from the right than he does from the left, but there were still a lot of dodgy moments. Wouldn't say he had a great game. I'll probably say he's a 5.5, 5.5. Some dodgy passing, but better from right back. He's not going to be a Man United right back. I can't see him staying here for long. At least maybe give him a loan to a Premier League team or something, because Williams isn't a great right back. Well, full back is he? But he's still a young player, and there's still time to grow. So I'm not completely shutting him down. I'll still want him to do well as a youth academy player and such. He's got passion. And he can be a good player. But as of now, he's not going to cut it. I think someone like Ethan Laird is probably better right now, who've just sent on loan to, I think, MK Dons. But anyway, we had Scott McTominay, who obviously wore the captain's armband today, got the winning goal, as I said. But other than that, it wasn't a great game. It was nowhere near the level he was against Leeds. He's not a CDM, so I don't know why we're all why United are ingraining it into all of our heads and his head that he's a CDM, because he's clearly not. But, he did the job against Watford, and he scored the goal, so I'd give him a 6.5. Donny van de Beek, 7. 7 I would give him. He didn't have an amazing game, but he was pretty good. It was against Watford. He's not going to be able to play his best when he doesn't get played enough. He needs to be used more. He's not even getting brought on from the bench. He's such a good player, but I'm sick of keep talking about Donny van de Beek, and I think a lot of people are. So I'm going to move on. Lingard, I've come out and said before that I think Lingard I would play over Dan James, but then you look at how he's actually playing when he does get the chance. It's awful. It is hard because Dan James is getting a lot more minutes than Lingard, but Lingard, I think there's the ceiling for Lingard. He's like 27, 28 now. But Dan James ain't that young. We make out he's so young. He's like, 23, 22? It's not that young, is it, really, if you think about it? He's not a youth player. He's not even under 21. I don't think we can keep saying all this Dan James stuff, because he's never going to be good enough for United, I think, which is a shame to say, but that's that. Anyway, so back to Lingard. He had a pretty bad game. I'd have to say a 4.5, and I'd give Dan James a 4.5 as well. It should be games like this. You should be proving why he needs to start and earn his place, and he just can't do it. I mean, you tell me what Dan James is good at other than pace, because he's not a skillful player. He's not a great passer. He's not a great shooter or anything like that. He's just got work rate and pace. I don't think anyone's scared of facing Dan James unless you're a retiring 35-year-old fullback or defender who's just going to run past. Juan Mata, better than the other two. Some nice passing, but again, he's not the player he used to be. He's not that great. He's not good enough to start and challenge for a league title anymore. Back in the day, and if it's 2015, then yeah, but players get older and Juan Mata's older now. But some good passing. He still does show his quality. I'll give him a 6. And then you have Greenwood, who is obviously going through a really rough patch at the moment. I'd have to give him a 4. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's obviously a young player. Stuff happens, and I'm sure he'll be back. But he's just a striker, and he's not on form at the moment. So I think that's going to do it for this one. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.